welcome to this channel. So yesterday I have shared the martial art tragic of modern China video, and after that I have received many messages from our traditional Chinese martial art friends in the West, in the US and Europe. Many of our friends ask me a certain style, saying that is it style proper? Does this style have momentum? So forth, so forth. And also some of our friends want to know the more details, big picture, what is going on. So now I'm going to share with you with a model so you can clearly see what happened. A model with timeline there. Now, so also that is a friend who messaged me, asked me, so what is my agenda of sharing this? Well, as in the previous video, I said that if the Chinese martial art people and the SanDa people set a standard for themselves and work together, that is the solution to solve the problem. If they attack each other, one is believing in all those woo-woo stuff and keeping doing whatever they want, and the other party, the SanDa people, keep thinking they know it all and have this destructive exchange, is going to destroy the Chinese culture. So I make this video, hopefully people see it and know the problem and know how to get out of it. Because as many of our traditional Chinese martial art friends in the West who message me, nobody wants to see a culture being destroyed. Nobody wants to do that, at least up to now. So this channel, my channel, is about education and it's about culture. We respect every culture. So that is the notions. We show the problem. We share the possible solutions. That is the bottom line. So it is not about political, who is right, who is wrong, all those kind of stuff. But based on evidence, we know what is going on there. It is rational, objective, based on evidence. Not based on bullying or all kinds of media play on all those kind of stuff. So let's get into this topic today. Topic, I say, modern China martial art mess. Modern China martial art mess. Today, it is a mess. Since years ago, when after the Xi Xiaodong fight the Tai Chi practitioner and then the Wing Chun practitioner and so forth, so forth, so forth. And then start with all this exposed fake traditional Chinese martial arts. It is a mess now. Okay, so let's go into the evolutions of Chinese martial arts. The best place where we want to look into the evolutions of traditional Chinese martial art is in Ming Dynasty, 1560. The time Qi Jiguang, Tang Shunzhi, and Yi Dayu, the three generals, had three classic. The Qi Jiguang's martial art classic, Tang Shunzhi martial art classic, and Yi Dayu martial art classic, which influenced the Chinese martial arts after 1560, and even it get carried to, say, like Korea, and also later it get how to say that, it get passed to Okinawa, to Japan. Okay, so we want to start there. And at 1950, at the 1560, that is the Ming Dynasty military arts. Because these three generals have to have this art to settle the pirates issue in the southern coast of China. So at that time, you have traditional Chinese martial art, and you have the breathing, handling, and you have the qi handling. The qi handling is what? Traditional Chinese medicine. And then also you have the what do you call that? The terms such as the 5 elements and so forth. Those like 5 elements, it is not like fortune telling. It means something. For example, the momentum. The momentum handling. You have 生克制化术. 生 is give birth to. Like you're making use of whatever momentum come to you, you make use of it. The 生克 is you against it, fighting it, and subdue it. 制 is you control it. 化 is you dissolve it. 术 is you use massive momentum. You just crush him. 生克制化术. That is called 五行, 5 element. That 5 element is from Sun Tzu, the art of war. It is a part of Chinese culture. So the qi, talking like in the traditional Chinese medicines, is a part of 1,000 years of Chinese culture. So does the breathing. And if we look into like in the Shaolin sword strike canon, we know that the breathing is apart from the anapanasati of the Buddhism, the Buddha's teaching. The Chinese have it for since 1,500 years ago. So it is a mature technology at here. Okay, so over here they play with momentum, as I show on the other channel, the other video in this channel, on how the General Qi Ji Guang play his sword play, which is even though it looks very similar to the samurai sword, it reformed, influenced by the samurai sword or katana, but it is not what it is. It is a Chinese stuff. Okay, so we start there. So it's massive people who practice that. Now, the problem is at 1840, when the Chinese lost the Opium War. Okay, so whatever here, it passed down, and when it hit 1840s, the Chinese get influenced by the Western people, and then somebody having feeling depressed. So at that time, the Chinese martial arts, if this is how much is practiced in 1850, like the amount of the people, amount of the knowledge, it get cut down by 1840s. After the Opium War, this thing is shrink big time. And then because after Opium War, you have the Taiping revolutions and all those kind of stuff, it further get cut down. By 1900, it cut down a lot already. And then by 1919, the Chinese drop the use of ancient classic. It dropped off even more, because once you drop that, the next generations over here will not be able to read the ancient Chinese anymore. Like today, you look at Qi Ji Guang's writing, chapter, people call it chapter 14. It's not the chapter 14, it's actually article 14. But most people have no idea what it is, even scholar. So that's why it's the problem. It's just shrinking. So it doesn't mean that it is still people who don't understand this, but the skill in proportion to here is very, it just cut down, narrow down, less and less people practice, less and less people know about it. It hit 1960s, 1965, Cultural Revolution in China. That thing get dropped down to almost very, very, very little. And that's where it comes today. If you want to look at traditional Chinese martial arts, that's how it is, in proportion. In China at this time, you know that the 1850 Xu Lin Tao Creed of Wing Chun is destroyed in 1965. Thus, in China, you cannot find the salutations of Wing Chun 1850. Over here, at 1900, it's already really rare, but at 1965, the thing gone. You don't see the complete or the big picture anymore. So like it or not, this is the reality. So today you only have a little bit people know this, and most of this thing will be at the older people at above 70 years old. And of course there's a lot of people in overseas Chinese, they are not mainland Chinese. And at this time, it is not that many people practice the traditional Chinese martial art anymore. It's like over here, boxer rebellion, where somebody believed that their body can take bullets. Okay? Now, when this is decreasing from the Opium War time, because the society is really in chaotic situations, or war from here, practically from 1840 to the, if this is 2021 today, and up to here, 1980s, this entire thing, the Chinese is living in a really, really tough life. So at this, you really cannot expect anybody who really go study it. You cannot expect people like me sitting in Silicon Valley, have all the information and have all the data and science what I want to study it. They don't have the luxury. People over here is having difficulties to put food in their table. That is what happened. Okay? Now, on the other hand, while the traditional Chinese martial art, the ancient traditional Chinese martial art, or the true teaching, the proper teaching, is fading away, that emerge what I call the traditional Chinese martial art, or pseudo-traditional Chinese martial arts. It takes something here, it get here. Okay? Usually this type of pseudo-traditional Chinese martial art will have a lot of story. But all this story will not tell you about General Qi Ji Guang. They will tell you about their grandmaster, how superior they are. Once upon a time, this monk, this nun, and all kind of stuff, and this Taoist in the cave, it is belong to this. Because they don't know this. So they have learned bit and piece, partial. So they start this thing. A lot of stories, a lot of magic, internal. You look at many people who talk about internal in the West. Why don't they talk about general Qi, Qigong, and momentum? You read all this past 100 years, say past 50 years in the YouTube and the Western. Did they mention anything about momentum? Yet it is written here. Just wait a minute. Yet momentum is described here in before 1560, writing in details. This belongs to here. Now, so this is forming after the Opium War, and you know there's all kinds of cults there, and all kind of partial stuff where you practice in the village for their security purpose and so forth. And all kinds of cult too. Over here, you can see a phenomenon is like my way. My way. A traditional Chinese martial art will break into 50 or 1,000 lineage. Everybody say this is my way. And then later, somebody will quote on this Taoist philosophy, that philosophy, that philosophy. So it made this. I call it ex-traditional martial arts. This is no longer this. Today, majority is this. We like it or not, it is majority that because it cannot track here anymore. Okay. Like this morning, I was discussing with Wing Chuners. He asked me about this grandmaster, that grandmaster. I said, you know, why in this book there's no grandmaster name here? On this Wing Chun Inceptions and Restricting Wing Chun? Because I don't want to get into here. I want it to be here. So Wing Chun, be able to track upward, straight. You be able to make use of the ancient writing. That is the key. Otherwise, you get stuck here. Okay? Now, let's look at SanDa. SanDa is start at the end of the 1970s. SanDa, if you check in the history, okay? The end of 19th history. So the creation of SanDa, we know today, in this article by the teacher of Xi Xiaodong, who is one of the founder of SanDa. He is using Western sport culture, Western boxing as the base to create SanDa. Start at 1979, those era. Okay, and of course the SanDa spread, and you have Xi Xiaodong here at 3-4 years ago challenging this group of people, the ex-traditional Chinese martial art people. Okay, and at that time, of course, the SanDa people brought in what we call MMA and challenged like the Tai Chi guy, the Wing Chun guy, and so forth, so forth. And it end up that it is the movement of exposing fake traditional Chinese martial arts. And the exposing fake traditional Chinese martial art, 打假传武, have evolved until today in YouTube, as I show you in previous video, become calling this thing fake traditional Chinese martial arts, where Xi Xiaodong's teacher do not know. He don't know, because we have his book. We know, what he don't know by his writing. Xi Xiaodong do not know when he comment on Wing Chun. You know that those are boxing stuff. He is based on that. And the follower in this thing is banging at say everything is fake traditional Chinese martial arts, such as calling the Shaolin short track cannon is a kiss-ass work to kiss-ass the emperor. He doesn't know that, as I show everybody in the Restricting Wing Chun, how is that connected to General Qi Ji Guang's work? So, now you got a problem. These two guys is fighting. This guy have no idea of what it is. This guy act like know it all, act like all the Chinese ancient martial art is nonsense. The teacher of Xi Xiaodong, when he wrote this book, he said that like the sets, the form of the Chinese is like demonstrations, like dance, start with the Song dynasty, and also there are a lot of mysterious and fictitious thing from the Tang dynasty, far away, 1,000 years away. Well, he don't understand this. And also, when he said the sets is dancing, that show that he have no understanding. That's why that what he create the 1970s, 1979 when they create SanDa, it is after the cultural revolutions, when things wipe out. And most people do not dare to talk. Now, so now you have a problem. You have a mess here, okay? Based on evidence, okay? Now, let's speaking about this. Why is SanDa is not traditional Chinese martial arts? Why? Let me share with you a model. You will know for sure what it is. Let's take Kyokushin karate. Is Kyokushin or Kyokushinkai a good fighting art? Of course. 1964, Kyokushin went to Thailand, make its record. Right? Now, however, Kyokushin, if you go train Kyokushin, not only you train all these different evolutions of how to fight, you train kata. You train breathing like ibuki, nogari. Kata is a form. From Taiyuku, Penang, to Tensho, to Sanjin, to Basaidai. So that is a traditional Japanese martial arts which is evolved. SanDa do not have that part. SanDa do not understand that the Japanese art, Okinawan karate, is a snapshot of the General Chichiguang's system. Get to Okinawa, and from Okinawa get to Japan. And Mas Oyama do not have to go practice Thai boxing and then make a Japanese name. Go to fight the Thai boxer. Mas Oyama is like General Chichiguang. If you look at the 1960 competition between Kyokushin and the Thai boxer, you know that Mas Oyama is like Chichiguang. They train their staff, even though they have to evolve, improve it. Okay? So that is characterized or categorized as a traditional Japanese martial art, karate. Chinese martial art over here is like that too. Like, for example, there's 大圣劈挂, where today the guy over here who following Xi Xiaodong and everybody, the exposing fake traditional Chinese martial art is saying that this 大圣劈挂 is more like a SanDa. No, 大圣劈挂 is like Mas Oyama's Kyokushin, because they have their sets, they are training traditional way. Because every generation fight differently, so you have to modify because your enemy or your opponent is different. Even General Chichiguang have to do that. Mas Oyama have to do that. So that is the reality here. And so now this is the problem. The SanDa people here thinking, when they think martial art, they think this traditional martial arts or pseudo-traditional martial art. They have no idea on this thing. Okay? So, this is what happened now. And we know this. We can go to Japan. We can track this thing, the parallel of this thing, this martial art here, like with the Okinawan Bubishi. Okay? So, you just go across the sea to Japan, to Okinawa, you can trace this. You even can go to Korea. But these people, after the cultural revolutions, they don't have this information. They are not clear on this thing. So if one say, oh, traditional Chinese Kung Fu is no good, blah, 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 and the set is useless, blah, 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 well, do we know what is the traditional Chinese martial art talking about here? For example, so this is the writing of General Chichiguang. Come with this writing is many diagrams and many writing. So this article number 14 have 4 parts. The first part is an introduction. This part is the introduction. This is the content. And come with the content is the 32 momentum. and come with this is the descriptions of this momentum. The momentum have the variations or changing within momentum. That is the traditional Chinese martial arts sets. Obviously, they don't understand. That's why, again, I have to show you evidence. In this book from the teacher of Xi Xiaodong, the founder of SanDa, one of the founders of SanDa, he is taking this thing as traditional Chinese martial arts. So now this is a reality. So is form in the proper way of understanding anything wrong? Is it form anything wrong? Why don't we go pick at Kyokushin's Sanjin or Basaidai or Tensho or practice of Ibuki or Nogari, saying that that's useless? Why? Because the bottom line is one do not understand what is going on. So this is the reality. You want to continue on this until you mess the entire up, and you only can find traditional Chinese martial art in Okinawa and Japan. Right? So that's why this is a mess. The guy over here is making up their stuff with some posture and something. The guy over here thinking they know everything. They can beat everybody, they know everything. Over here, the Chinese at 1840s in the Opium War, because they lost the war, they depressed on what they are. They are martial art and so forth here. Like their meditation, their qigong the proper way, not that today's here. So they drop it. But guess what? Today in the West, we want to practice, or you want to inhale, count 5, and then stop breathing, count 5, and exhale, count 5 to control, to handle your heart rate variability while they do it there. It's just because they lost to the firearm, then you, guess what? You throw out the baby with the bath water. Here, in this exposing fake by Xi Xiaodong, doing exactly the same thing. Throwing out the baby with the bath water, while Mas Oyama didn't do that. So you say that the Kyokushin is less effective? Go check history. 1964. How is the ranking of that competitions in Thailand? So this is what is the reality. Now just hope that the Chinese have the wisdom to settle this mess. If not, we can predict this like a history, technology. You need to go to Okinawa, to Japan, to Korea to learn what is the ancient teaching of the China. So this is what I like to share with you. Again, as what I said, my agenda is very simple. Nobody can cover this up. Like yesterday, I shared with you that the Qigong way of using katana, the sword from this old gentleman is here. I don't even know how to get there. I cannot just make up something like here and to tell you. But after I investigate on that thing, and for some heaven wills, I heard him told me, this old gentleman told me about the details. Then I said, I understand what is going on here. And what Shiji Guang do is no different than Mas Oyama, 1964 in Thailand. Okay? So I like to leave this with you. I didn't badmouth anybody in SanDa. I show you guys evidence. I didn't badmouth anybody who exposed big fake TCMA. Is in with evidence. I didn't make this up. Check history. Look at what is in the ancient books. And look at the scientific verifications on the practice of the Xiulin Tao over here. Okay? So this is what I like to share with you. It is this. As a person who like to study this is what I see. That's why I feel really, really, really disappointed when this thing happened. When I found out this thing with Xi Xiaodong and all the movement. Seriously, what Xi Xiaodong do is only just, you fight somebody here. Say you fight Hendrik lost. You just say Hendrik lost. You don't say that Hendrik, a Kyokushin member, lost, so that the Kyokushin is fake. You don't say that. I am a Kyokushin member since 1973, before even SanDa created. So if I fought Xi Xiaodong, for example, I'm 60-something years old, I lost, is that because the Kyokushin is fake? But right now it becomes everything is fake. So can this carry on? And that's what I said. If this mess is not solved for next 5 years or so, anybody want to learn the traditional Chinese martial art, it's better off to go learn Japanese karate or Okinawa Te, because they have more real component in the traditional Chinese martial arts than SanDa. I don't see anything here. You see all this in SanDa is all these combinations and this hook, and then this is a jab. And that's what it is, like a Western boxing, and then you add up different stuff. Well, anything wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. The issue is, does exposing fake traditional Chinese martial art or thinking martial art is like this way, that must not happen in the point of view of studying a culture. So this is what I like to share with you.